All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Jen's Pen Live, where we find interesting people who are making the world a better place and ask them to share their story. If you have stories that help or heal, Jen's Pen helps you help more people in less time by creating a book filled with your ideas, expert information, life experiences, and stories. Besides helping people, your book will show you are an authority on your subject. It provides visibility, can get you into more podcasts and stages, and starts a deep, meaningful relationship with potential clients. Now that that's over with, today we're talking to Felicia, who, why don't you tell us about yourself, Felicia?
So, hey guys, I am so happy to be here today. My name is Felicia McCants, and I am a financial coach. I help busy women and entrepreneurs create a customized step-by-step money roadmap for their goals so that they can fast track them without the mistakes and the trial and error and trying to figure out what to do next. So thank you so much for inviting me today, Jen. I'm really happy to be here.
It is my pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for agreeing to come and visit us here. So let's start with your story. How did you get to where you are now?
So I've been a financial coach for about 2 years now, but my story started before then. I got out of college and I was in grad school. My credit score was horrible, hovering around a 530, paying bills late, not knowing where I was spending my money. And I was just tired. And so I started, like most people, Googling, looking online. How do I save money? How do I pay my bills on time? And, at first I did have some success. And I actually went through this process about 3 times. And every time it lasted about a year and a half. And I ended up back in the same place, back in debt, back with poor credit, not knowing where I was spending. And then I finally realized that the cookie cutter methods will only take you so far. They're proven, they're tried and true, but at a certain point, you need a customized plan for your money so that you can line up your goals and your money and get the life that you want. And that kind of led into me doing financial coaching, of course, family and friends, at first just kind of informal. Hey, I'm buying a house. Can you help me with this? Can you help me with my credit card debt? And I decided to make it a career because I really love it. I feel like finances is one of those things, personal finances especially. We use it every single day, but we are not taught how to do it, and we just have to figure it out ourselves.
Isn't that insane? Something that's so basic and important in our lives is not taught in school.
It is very insane. And I thought that what I learned in college and in high school would help me with my personal finances. But what I figured out is that's geared towards more business. And we aren't going to do all that stuff anyway for our personal finance. Like, who wants to sit down every weekend, pull out your income documents and all of those things. So we need an easy way. We need somebody who knows how to do it and can show you step by step how to line up and get your customized plan in order.
That's so true. It's like losing weight, all the steps you kind of in your head that you have to take, but if you don't have something that works for you specifically, like, it's just pointless.
Absolutely.
Can you tell us a little story about maybe something where you realized, okay, I need help? Like, where was the lowest that you were?
Oh gosh, I would say my lowest was when I really, really needed a vehicle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think that's something that we've all been there. And like I said, there have been highs and lows. So there were points, where my credit was good, and I was like, yeah, I can go and get me a vehicle. Maybe not the best interest rate, but I could go and get me a vehicle. And this particular time when my vehicle put me down, my credit was trash. I didn't have a lot of money for a down payment. So I ended up looking for like 3 weeks, trying to find a vehicle, having my best friend, pick me up and bring me home from work, which was totally frustrating. And I had to go to, I won't name the dealership, but I had to go to this dealership that dealt with subprime lenders. Mm-hmm. And my interest rate was ridiculously high. And one thing that I learned is that when, at this particular time, when you have bad credit and you buy a vehicle, and they finance you, sometimes you have to pay like every dime. Like normally you pay your car off early, you can save you some money. But in my case, I had to pay every dime. And it was so frustrating. I felt like such a failure. Like I'm at this place again, even worse off because now I have all this debt, this low credit score, plus this high car payment that I need in order to even go to work, in order to make money.
Right.
And so for me, that was just like, you know what? I'm sick of it. I'm tired of it. I feel like a second class citizen. I feel like I'm just making all these mistakes. And so I just realized that I had to do something differently. I had to do something differently. The slow learning was not working. It was taking too long. It was ruining my confidence. And I was just starting to tell myself that you're never going to have this. You're never going to have enough money. You're never going to have good credit. And I was just sick of it.
Yeah.
And so that just led to me, using proven strategies and methods as a base for my custom plan. And since I've done that, oh my gosh, like 2 years ago when we bought our vehicle, the interest rate was a single digit number. My credit score is awesome. I maintain like 700 credit score. Of course, it fluctuates a little bit, but it maintains around 700. I have not had a late payment posted to my credit report in over 6 years. So things have totally, totally changed. And that doesn't mean that, life doesn't still happen. But the difference is now when life happens, I know how to deal with it. Like I can say, okay, I can figure out what the problem is, what my solutions are, and figure out the best way to handle it that works for my money and my lifestyle. And that's what I do for my clients. And I love it because their attitude goes from, this just isn't for me. I just don't make enough money to, wow, look what I can do. Like I love, there's a quote, and I think it's T. Harv Eker that says you can always be more because you can learn more. You can always learn more. And
So
personal finances, it's a skill that anybody can learn. And so when you have somebody who's done it, then it's kind of like when you're learning how to drive. If you learn how to drive yourself, you're really just figuring out how you're going along. You make a mistake, you say, oh, okay, I learned something new, and you take it with you. But when you have somebody who's there to teach you, they can help you avoid some of those mistakes and get to your goals or your driver's license or wherever, faster.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's awesome. So what are some of the things that, other than income stream, obviously, there are lots of variables that go into handling anybody's finances. Like, what are the difficulties that you come up against and how do you handle them with different people?
Well, I think, first of all, it's the mindset. Right. And a lot of times we don't realize that we carry these stories and these beliefs in our head. Mm-hmm. And a belief is just a thought that you've had so much that now you just believe it's true. It doesn't mean that it's true. So that's the first thing, the beliefs in your head, all these things that you picked up that you aren't even aware of that's causing these conversations that prevent you from taking action. That's the first step. Also, being organized in a way that's close to your habits. When we do something new, a lot of times we want to set the bar really, really high. But there's value in actually setting the bar low and putting those mini steps so that you build your confidence.
Right.
And that's what keeps you going. Because if you're having negative thoughts, like if you don't believe that you can manage your finances at the first obstacle, you're just going to give up. Yeah. So we work on strengthening that mindset, uncovering those beliefs, getting you organized. We help you get to know your numbers. Where are you actually spending your money? Is that actually where you want to be spending your money? Is it worth it for you? Because a lot of times we get into a habit of doing certain things or spending money. And maybe it served us at one time, but right now, like it doesn't even have the same amount of value to us, but we're still spending money on it. So it's kind of like that check-in, that awareness and that clarity. Okay, this is where I am and this is where I want to be. And so then we help them put together that step-by-step plan to get them there. And we hold them accountable. We walk with you step by step so that you don't have to figure it out on your own and you're not encountering those highs and lows that mess with your confidence and prevent you from taking action.
Right. It's like one thing that I've learned in my life, you were talking about how it took you 3 times to sort of, you got things settled, and then, you know, life happened, and then you had to go back again. And it's a matter of the importance of to keep going.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the other part, the sustainability. You know, once we put this plan together, then we're going to show you how to create a routine, a process specifically for you that's going to make sure that you keep up with those good habits, those habits that we, you know, show you that's going to cause you some movement in your life. And really, once you start to see things changing, you won't have to drag yourself to do it. You'll want to do it because you know that it's going to get you what you want.
That's awesome. So Felicia, tell us a little bit more about yourself. When you got out of college, more specifically, like, how did you get into trouble the first time?
So I got into trouble the first time actually when I was in college.
Okay.
And I'm sure anybody who's been in college has experienced, you know, money is tight. You're trying to learn how to budget, you know, and you have, you know, some resources. But my mom always told us good credit is better than cash, you know, and that's one of those things that I actually had to learn the hard way. So I had people kind of telling me, you know, hey, you need to make sure you get your credit good, keep your credit good, you need to pay your bills on time. But I really didn't have anyone to teach me. And that's how I kept getting into trouble, because I would learn a little bit and then I would do a little better. But then something would happen, or I would say, oh, okay, I got it under control now, and think I don't need to do X, Y, and Z. And lo and behold, here we are back in the same situation. And it seemed like a chore. That was the other part. Like while I was figuring it out, it was hard, right? Because I kept making mistakes and I kept having to make adjustments, and I didn't know what to look out for. I didn't know what the pitfalls were. And so, you know, going through all of that, I just had to find a better way. I had to find a better way. There just wasn't any way to describe it, because, you know, a lot of people, and I thought this too, that I just need to make more money, right?
Right.
I need to make more money. Because I worked when I was in college. At one point, I worked full time as when I was in college and even in grad school. So I was like, okay, my income is increasing. These financial issues will take care of themselves. And actually what happens, and it seems like that's what should happen, but since you don't really change your habits, what actually ends up happening is you end up with the bigger problem, right? So you have more money, so now you can get into more problems. You've learned a little bit, you know, you've learned how to keep yourself out of trouble longer. So now when you get in trouble, the amount is so much bigger. You know what I mean? It's just it just end up in a lot of trouble. And that's what I kept ending up doing. I would say, okay, you know, I got this now. And I'd kind of take my eye off the prize, so to speak. And slowly but surely I would sink back into where I was, because it's really not about how much money you make. Whether you make $10,000 a year or whether you make $100,000 a year, the same habits apply. When I talk to six-figure entrepreneurs and six-figure women, especially those who have had success in their finances, I find out that they were doing the same things that I were doing. You know, okay, you know, but their budget might be a little bigger and maybe they don't call it a budget, but they figured out that they're in control of it. Right. And so there isn't this negative mindset attached to, okay, I need to figure out where I'm spending, because they have understood from experience that I control where I spend my money. And if I can figure out how to spend it right, I can have the life that I want.
That's an empowering thought.
It is. It is. It really, it really, really is.
It is. I'm looking forward to that myself. So you mentioned pitfalls. There were pitfalls that you fell into that you weren't aware that were there. What are some of the pitfalls that people need to look out for?
Well, the one that I encounter a lot is just having no idea where they're spending, where you're spending your money. Like I said, you can fall into habits. So, you know, if going to get coffee every morning used to be the highlight of your day, you know, and you do it with your friends, but now you realize, well, you know, it's not really lighting me up anymore. I would prefer to spend time with my friends here, but yet you still spending the money every day on a coffee. Well, yeah, well, coffee doesn't cost that much, but is it serving you?
Right.
Is it valuable to you? Is it adding joy to your life? Because you have to look at spending from a different perspective. Money is an exchange, right? So what are you getting for your money? Is it adding value to your life? Those are the things that you have to be aware of, because a lot of times it's that day-to-day spending that we kind of do subconsciously, on autopilot. This is just a part of my day. I go here, I do this, I do that. I stop by the convenience store, I go to the grocery store on the way home, and maybe every once in a while, I pick up things that I don't really need, but hey, I'm in the grocery store, so I'll go ahead and get it. It's those things that we kind of just do on autopilot that I think really, really can be pitfalls. Another one is using credit cards to fill the gap, right? And so you make a good income and you have credit cards and you figure, well, hey, I'm a little short this month. That's something that I did a lot. I'm a little short this week, so I'll just use the credit card to kind of fill the gap. But what happens if you're not making an effort, taking actions to pay that debt down is it just grows and grows and grows. And pretty soon you don't have the money to fill the gap. And so now you've created a bigger problem for yourself. And so you can kind of just end up going down this like rabbit hole of things that just happen one after another. And you can actually take a lot of the resources that you have built up away. That's something that I kept doing. But it also made me really good at figuring out how to solve problems, to find solutions with the resources that are available. Like, it really, really made me good. And what I had to realize, those solutions, combining that with my customized plan and, just developing my routine has what carried me through, because it stabilizes everything. It ensures that I stay on track. I'm happy to look at my plan and to go and say, oh, okay, well, this is what I have to do this week, because I know this is actually getting me to where I want. It's like it's not, oh God, I gotta pay these bills. I gotta do this. It's like, no, okay, this is taking me further towards my goal. This is another step towards the life that I am building. And money is a part of that process. Mm-hmm. It just is. There's just nowhere around it.
There's no way around it. It's just reality. No matter how much you don't want it to be reality, it is reality.
No matter. I'm oh my God. And because I tried.
Same here. Same here. It's like,
it is not possible. La, 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 la. Oh my gosh. So yeah, I mean, it's just, it's once you start getting rolling, it becomes easier and easier, because like I said, it's a skill. And, like everything, the first time you got in the car, you didn't know how to drive, but every time you got in it, it got a little bit easier. You do a little bit more, and stabilizing your plan and having a routine. Oh my gosh. It makes handling when things do come up so much easier, because now you don't have to go and figure out where you are. You don't have to go and dig for information. You have the information.
Right, it's right there in front of you. One of the things that we seem to keep coming back to here is mindset and your ability to reframe how things look. You said a minute ago that, it taught you got into trouble, but it made you more resourceful. So that's the sort of mindset shift that we have to have. You mentioned also T. Harv Eker earlier, and that reminds me how everybody has their money blueprint, right? Yeah. How do you find out more about people's blueprint, and how do you help them sort of reframe things?
Well, it's really down to the questions that we ask. It's in the beginning, it's more of a conversation, because what I find is that my clients usually realize things while we're having the conversation. So something as simple as, okay, how in your household when you were growing up, how did you guys discuss money at all? Like, was there a discussion about money? Was money the focus of fights? Did you talk about wealth? Or was it always, what did your parents say about money? There's all these things that, like I just said a few minutes ago, my mom always told us, good credit is better than cash. And that's something that stuck with me and actually affected the way that I handled my finances. Now, because at one point you're not, when you first start your credit, you just don't have any credit, right?
Right.
So at one point my credit was decent, but then good credit is better than cash. But because I didn't have the skills to go along with that mindset, it didn't work. And so what we do is we take that mindset and we start showing you those beliefs that are limiting you. If you don't believe, well, I'm never going to have money, I'm never going to be able to do this. Money doesn't grow on trees. All of these sayings, these discussions, these things that don't even come from us,
right.
They may be true for the person that, taught it to you, where you picked it up from, but is that true for you? Is it true for you? I mean, you really have to ask, because you have to ask yourself, like, is this belief serving me? And if it's not serving me, okay, is it even true?
Right. Right.
I mean,
like, actually examine it. It's something that's been pounded into our heads as kids. So these are the ideas that we don't question.
Right.
But these are the ideas that we need to question. Like, so some people have beliefs about money itself. For instance, like there was a huge disruption in my family about inheritance stuff, and it caused huge rifts. And my family's reaction was like, this is what money does to people. Like, it makes them assholes, basically. Excuse my language, you know what I mean?
Right.
So like, if you have that kind of belief, where like, it seems to me it's a almost a harder thing to overcome, thinking that money is the root of all evil, or only bad people know how to make money, that sort of stuff.
Well, let's examine that. Okay, so money is the root of all evil. So what kind of good could you do with money?
Right. Yeah, I mean, you can give to charities, and I mean, I could do so much good with money, but there's these ideas that you get in childhood that people just don't seem to be able to let go of. They're harder to let go of.
They are, and it does. It's not always dependent on the belief. It's not something that you're gonna change overnight,
right?
But you can challenge those beliefs, right? So like I just said, if the money is the root of all evil, then what's up with all these rich people giving to charities?
Right.
Like, why do these organizations exist? Like one of my reasons for wanting to improve my finances, like one of my big whys, is to be able to donate to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. That does not sound evil to me.
No, it's not. It's very good.
So you have to kind of tie that to, like, you have to question those beliefs and dig down and ask yourself, well, okay, well, if money is the root of all evil, so what would you do with money if you had more of it?
Right.
And then ask yourself, well,
evil? Right.
Is that evil or is that good? Because from my experience with people in general is that people want to do good. And, we're humans and we're not perfect, and we may make some mistakes along the way. But money is neutral. Money is what you do with it. Money is what you make it. It's how you use it and how you make it work for you. So thinking money isn't evil, well, okay, put you in the equation. If money is evil, if just money is evil, what happens when you get a hold of it?
Right. Money doesn't, it's not going to cause you all of a sudden to become a monster, is it?
Right. It's going to allow you to do all these great things. And that doesn't mean that there aren't things that come. There isn't contrast with money, but there's contrast with everything, right? Anything that's neutral, and that's the whole definition of a neutral. You can take it and do good with it. You can do bad with it. But my bet is on people doing good with it. My bet is that when you make more money, that you'll start seeing that you can have your desires here and now, right? And that you don't have to wait for it, heaven on earth, so to speak. Right. And I truly believe that. And if you don't believe it, well, look at the way the economy is set up. If that doesn't get you, okay, so money is evil. So what are you going to exchange for goods and services? How are you going to provide your needs and wants? So, and sometimes it is like just asking like those kind of silly questions that really make you think about it. Well, wait a minute. What am I going to do then? If I'm not going to earn money to take care of me and my family and to build a wonderful life for us, what am I going to do?
Right. So
you can choose to believe that money is evil, or you can choose to believe that the money is neutral and money is necessary.
Yes.
And money is a builder. It's Oh my gosh, you just took me down a rabbit hole because I'm like, that's like,
I like rabbit holes.
because I love like uncovering those beliefs, because seeing a client have that moment when they realize, oh my gosh, that's not true for me. I don't have to believe that. That's not the way. It just opens, then you open up yourself to everything that is available to you.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you have a negative mindset, and let's say you have a problem, let's say, you need $200 to pay your light bill. And your first thought is, I ain't never gonna come up with this $200. I don't know who to call. I don't know what to do. You are closing yourself out to all the resources and solutions that may be all around you, because you just said, I don't know. Instead of, okay, well, what would be the first step? What resources do I have available? Let me break this problem down. Where can I start? Like, you just kind of got to get your mind rolling in the right direction. Right. And then thoughts just seem to come, but you have to get out of that negative mindset first. And in order to do that, you have to be aware of it. And that's where we start, with awareness and clarity. What are those beliefs? What habits do I have that aren't serving me? What do I want to do more of? What do I want to do less? Those are the things that we dig into. So when we go to your blueprint, like, you are like, you're ready to go, you're on fire, you are motivated, and you're going to do and take the steps that you need to take to get where you want to be.
That is amazing. And one of the things I love about what you do too is, like, not only are you helping people who really need help, but also once you've helped them, they can take their money and go and do good outside. So it's like the paying it forward thing. Everybody, it's just helping the world be a better place.
I just look at it like as a compound play. And I mean, the compound effect, because I feel like I'm so blessed to be able to have like built up the skill and the knowledge. And when I help somebody, because it's personal finances, but when we really look at it here, like, what we're really doing is we're really helping people improve their everyday lives, because you use money every single day. We have all this worry, we make all these sacrifices. And a lot of times I see my clients making sacrifices that are unnecessary because they close themselves off to the resources available to them, because they weren't in that place of awareness to be able to see that those options are available. And that's what a coach does. I don't make decisions for my clients, but I show my clients how to make the best decisions for them. And then I take that walk with them every step of the way, so they don't have to figure it out by themselves. You don't have to figure it out by yourself. That's the long way. It is frustrating. It is unmotivating, and I would not recommend it.
Yes. It's very discouraging. It takes longer and you screw up more. And it's just so much easier to have someone who already knows what they're talking about help you through that.
Faster.
Absolutely. Right? It needs around the heart. So Felicia, tell people how they can get in touch with you if they'd like to.
Thank you so much. So I am on Facebook. Felicia McCants is my personal profile. And Success Habits Coaching and Consulting also has a Facebook page, so you can find us there. Please follow me, message me. I love private messages. I have a lot of clients, and also, just people just wanting to talk about money sometimes, just message me to find out more about what I do and how I can help them. So I'm totally fine with private messages. Also, I know money is a tough topic. It's a tough discussion, not one that we talk about nearly enough, especially women. So feel free, to DM me if you would prefer to remain in private. So yes.
That's something we didn't even touch on, is the woman thing.
Oh my God.
I'll have to have you back and we can have an entire discussion.
Let's do that.
Yes, seriously, because I can't believe that we didn't cover that. But yes, we're going to have another discussion about women and finances.
Awesome.
And things like that. That's necessary. Awesome. Okay, so let's make sure we get all your contact information in the comment section.
Absolutely.
And then, other than that, just thank you so much for being here with us. Thank you so much for sharing this. That's awesome. And I just want to say, Jen's Pen Live is made possible by Jen's Pen.
Yay! Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to say this live, this Jen's Pen is awesome because it starts with mindset, and you are encouraging and open up minds that I'm sure you're not even aware of. So thank you for your impact and for what you're, doing here. I think it's great.
Thank you so much. Thank you
You're
so much. And
welcome.
we're going to have that conversation soon.
Yes.
I'll get off this and schedule it with you. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Talk to you soon. Thanks so much.
All right.
Felicia.
Thanks so much for having me. Bye, guys.
If I could just get this to stop streaming, that would be great.